Hey guys, it's Matt. Let's look back again at the Interface series, but just one brief moment in episode 23. It's the Interface series UMAMI channel, all with spaces. To me, this is the most profound moment. I think there's a lot in this series, but this is something nobody talks about. Here it is.
All haunted souls remain on Earth. They fail to go as they came.
How come nobody talks about that? It's only one of the biggest questions of all of existence. We don't talk about it in this community. Christians don't talk about it. It's not addressed in the Bible. What exactly were we? How did we get here? Interface says all haunted souls remain on Earth. They fail to go as they came. Hansel and Gretel, they laid down breadcrumbs so they could follow their way back. Hopefully the breadcrumbs were the same color as they tried to make their way back. Who knows what's being said in all these fairy tales? What breadcrumbs are laid for us? Did we lay any breadcrumbs ourselves? The truth community talks a lot about potential tricks at death. Saturn moon matrix recycling, go into the light, don't go into the light. But, is it as simple as what Interface is saying? Why not figure out how you got here? How do you, when you get somewhere and you're in a new place, driving or whatever, how do you get out? You got out the way you came. By the way, guys, the image coming up is just a placeholder image I just dragged in. I figured I couldn't keep using Interface. Who knows if there'd become a CR issue with YouTube. Don't read into why I'm using this. Just pulled it in. The creepy Maynard from Tool. They love the heptagram, even though it's a 6-pointed star on the left. In the Fear Inoculum, you actually have an overlay where the 7-pointed star, I think, goes over the 6. On the right, it's a heptagram. And of course, when the guy on the bottom right, the lead guitarist, when he's interviewed, why did you guys use the heptagram? There's all this occult lineage, goes back to elven magic. He's like, we just thought it was cool, and the cops use it. Yeah, can't they ever just be honest and just tell us the creepy reasons they're using these symbols? But anyway, sorry. In the Bible, there's basically, people only point to one reference, Jeremiah, I think it's 1:5, where Jeremiah is told, before you were put in your mother's womb, I knew you, or I knew of you. There's no mention of all of Christianity doesn't mention exactly what we were or where we came from. So this is just not addressed. I don't know if it's addressed or how it's addressed in other religions. Hinduism and Buddhism. The amount of recycling and samsara and the amount of lives. Well, you were another life, but initially, does it the initial entity? The where did that come from? And the initial aspect of, if you believe you're part of higher self, where did that come from? And it's just interesting the way Interface put it, and it just hit me. I went, yeah, nobody addresses that. If you're trying to figure a way out, it's the most logical thing is not to start from scratch, is to put the pieces together. You got here, right? How'd you get here? Do we need to know this? We probably do know it. It's probably been covered up in us, but that would be the logical step on how to get out. How'd you get in? For some reason, it's not a great example, but it makes a point. That same thing I've talked about many times over the years, the tragic soul with the demon creature, archonic creature standing over it saying, oh my gosh, I've got to go back and do it again, or how do I ever break this cycle? And what I'm going to say, probably, anybody that's been here, the demon says, it was all within, like the Wizard of Oz, click your heels. It was all within you. You never asked. And I hate that word ask, but it just makes a point. You never demanded. You never said it is within me to not go back. It was always like begging the archonic demonic master, not to go back. Well, maybe it's the same thing here. Maybe it's simply that, a lot of smart people believe the work you need to do here now and the intentions carry forth through death. Well, as of right now, I believe that I'm not aware right now how I got here, but I believe it is my right, I guess, for, I'm confined by the English language here, guys. It's not really suited to this type of conversation, but it is my right to know how I got here. I need to know now. I demand to know now, or I demand to know, at my death, whatever experience happens at death. How did I need to know, or I will know how I got here, and I can use that. And what's the demon's not going to laugh because this being has an affirmation that he knows that it is within him to understand how he got here, and to just simply trace the Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs back. I don't think it worked out too well for them. It's my grim fairy tales are a little blurry, but the fairy tale has breadcrumbs being laid to follow the way back. Interface. All haunted souls remain on earth. They failed to go as they came.
So when you died, why did you stay?
Guess what we're looking at here in Interface can be taken two different ways. All haunted souls remain on earth. I don't take it as a real haunting, like poltergeist and ghosts trying to just be close to the living. I take that more as, all haunted souls that can't get into a certain state remain on earth. They come back into a real body, a samsara, recycling. Why the population keeps going higher and higher. I don't take it as a haunting. Okay, that's just my interpretation. You could potentially take it as a haunting because Henrik in the Interface series, he moves into some weird netherworld. It's very complicated, but that's not the way I take it. Because one of the things Interface does is that section I just showed, after you died, Henrik, why did you stay? It says, after you died, why did you stay? And then it pretty much explains why he stayed, or why the typical human stayed, because it gets into the karma thing. It says, you couldn't drop your weights. You carry the sins of the man of the past. Whether the people like Tony don't believe karma is real, of course, but if you believe as a real person it's real, you can make it real. So there's two aspects, and almost all of us, for years and years and decades, ignore half. How are we going to get anywhere ignoring half? It's what have we done here in this life to make sure there's success at death, but no interest in knowing exactly where we were, or at least the spiritual aspect of ourselves, or how exactly we got here. That's the other half. So just at least, and I don't think we're going to figure it out here, between me saying that it's amazing how we missed this side of it in the comment section. I don't think we're going to figure it out now, but we need to give equal weight to this. So for just getting into this for the first time, and I've been delinquent in addressing this, of course, we all have. But for right now, I'll say, all right, if I drive out to get a burger and fries, get some fries from New York State today, and I get hit by a bus, and I'm going to try to, I'm not going to have people coming over singing the bardos to me, but I'll try to remember, hey, I demand to know how I got here. And I demand to know how I got here. And, that light with the bells and everything, and the warm glowing feel, and here comes my cat Belle through the light. And well, wait a second, is that how I came here? If I ask you a question, do you have to tell me the truth? It's like, to tell the truth, three guys, and only one was the real pilot that flew the drugs into Afghanistan, and the other two, to tell the truth, the game from the 70s into the 80s, the other two lie, try to get, see if they can be more convincing in their lie than the real pilot that flew the drugs into Afghanistan, or out of Afghanistan, sorry, of course. So, it's like, I need to know, how did I get here? I'm not going in that. I'm not do anything. I'm gonna plop my ass down here for a couple millennia until I know how I got here. And I can decide for myself, what's the rush? What's the rush? Like I said in the book, somebody pops out of that light, like that archonic, nasty fellow in Star Trek Voyager. He's like, you have to get in the light, Janeway. You're like, well, what's your rush? If you're really on my side, then you would allow me as much time as I need. And if time doesn't exist here, like time doesn't exist here, but in Earth years, if I need 1,000 Earth years, then why wouldn't you give it to me? Why are you getting all pissed off up in here? You know? So, my biggest thing, at least when I covered this in the book, and I'm still a novice in talking about these things. I mean, what do I know? I don't float up out of my body and do all this stuff that people talk about. I just observe the way the minions have laid down this world and this reality, and you can determine a lot of things based on what they want, because you know that the real answers are the opposite. What they want, what Melvin P. wants for you on behalf of his masters, is always bad, always. I mean, so you can learn a lot just observing the way society's laid down. That's all I've ever done. But what's the rush? What's the rush? And they should give you as much time as you need, and then say, well, show me how I got here into that snow globe, and then I'll decide from there. So it's something. The very minimum, the people listening to this would say, yeah, why is this side ignored by everybody? And, maybe it even deserves equal weight. We'll talk about it more, I hope, going forward. Thanks for listening.